Welcome to TonePrint Tuesday. Today, as you've probably found out already from title and from intro sounds, we're working with a flashback delay. And my goal for today is to take Dual Delay TonePrint, you know, the ones that allow you to have separate control between the two delay lines, and create something that will allow me to, in the same TonePrint, have a slight doubler, almost like a slapback delay effect, and in that same TonePrint have a normal delay. But because I can't leave well alone and I always need to be overachieving in these things, I'm also going to have a modulation effect that's going to be controlled by the mash pedal or by a knob, and I'm going to make it even more difficult but at the same time more useful by creating presets within a TonePrint. So without further ado, let's jump into the TonePrint Editor. This window should be familiar to you. If it isn't, please go check out the TonePrint Editor series that I have where I show how all of this works, because otherwise if you're not familiar with the interface, you're going to find it a bit difficult to follow this. So jumping right into our TonePrint, I started with one of the Dual Delay TonePrints that you can pick off the Templates tab. Click the pencil for editing, and here I am. So I've tweaked some of this already, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Starting with the router tab, I didn't touch anything, so I've got my in level and my effects level both at maximum, i.e. 0 dB. Remember that this works the other way around. Minus 100 is off, and 0 is maximum. Because this doesn't have an octaver effect, that one is at minimum, i.e. minus 100, and I don't have my kill dry active because I want both my dry and my wet sound to follow through. Moving on to the delay tab, this is where things get complex. It's where the magic happens. And try not to pay too much attention to the red line on the mapping on the side. We'll get there in a second. As you can see from the yellow line, I am mapping my delay time for my first delay line to the delay knob on the pedal, which I'm tweaking, as you can see by the donut on the screen. And I'm tweaking it between 20 milliseconds and 120. So if I keep it on the lower range, so around 41, you get a slight fattening effect. If I go to the other side, you have the slapback delay that's typical of this time. Obviously, if you need to tweak this a bit more to give you like 150, 160 milliseconds, please do so. I keep mine between 20 for fattening and 120. Now, so I'm going to get back to 20 milliseconds. So just a little fattening. Let me just show you for comparison my dry sound without the delay pedal. This is without, and this is with. So you have a bit more body to the sound. Anywho, I'm now going to start tweaking the second delay line, and now you can see okay, some of these parameters changed on screen. I'm going to change the mapping here. I'm going to put it on the level knob, which is the one that I'm using for this. And again, don't pay too much attention to the red line on the mapping. We'll get there in a second. As you can see, my yellow line, I'm going between 220 and 440 milliseconds. And if you remember, in the beginning of this video, I said that I was going to create some presets within the TonePrint. I'm really sorry. Jesus, chair, shut up. And this is what I meant. With delay on minimum, with the level knob on minimum, which is now controlling our second delay line, I have it set for 220 milliseconds, and you can see that the feedback 2 is at 0. Okay? And with that, we can do stuff like mess that up. I'm not even going to try again. You know what it is, or if you don't, you should. I'm going to try another line so you can eventually try and recognize it. And that's as much as I'm going to try and do from that. But You see, that's exactly the sound that you get with the level knob at minimum. If I rotate the level knob all the way to the right, I have a 440 millisecond delay. Feedback has now changed to 40. We'll get to the red line in a second, and what I get is this. Somehow that's a lot easier to play. You can see we go from twist of a knob, I'm going to try it again. Okay, twist to the maximum, and we get... Okay, and in the middle we get... So if I put the pot roughly at 12 o'clock, we get something like... And I didn't have to press any buttons, I didn't have to click anything, I simply twisted a knob, okay? And obviously I'm not even touching the fattener knob, which I can also do, so let me demonstrate this. I'm not going to touch the second delay line, I'm going to touch the first delay line. So. So you can hear that difference there. So as you can see, I just need to twist one knob to get 3 different presets, and obviously in the middle I still have something, so you can see here, so in minimum I've got 220, at 12 o'clock I've got 360, and of course between those 2 points I've got everything between 220 and 360, and then from then upwards I can get to 440, and again between 360 and 440 I can also get everything. So I got this by mapping the delay time here. So it's the delay to parameter. I also tweak the feedback on this curve, on the blue curve, because for my extreme flight of the wounded bumblebee thing, I don't want any feedback. I want my feedback is 0, so that's what I do there. For the U2 edge thingy, you want some feedback, so close to 50%, so I mapped it to 50% there. And for the Pink Floyd David Gilmour sound, you want something around 40% feedback. So that's how I can map all of this and get close to the values that I want, only tweaking one knob. Here's the funny thing, we still have a third knob that we haven't used yet, which is the feedback knob. But because my feedback is now being controlled by the delay knobs because of the presets, I can make this feedback knob now behave as a modulation mix knob. So I can have it at 0 and my sound is very clean, or I can rotate it to maximum, and here we go. Or anywhere in between. Right, but there's still another thing we can do. Imagine you want to have a very dry, straight delay sound during your playing, but you want to bring up the modulation without taking your hands off the guitar. Mash is our friend. Fun, right? Okay, but what about the red lines, you say? Okay, so here's the bit that I haven't told you yet. I'm using my Flashback plugged in mono to my recording device. It's the only effect that I have on my signal, by the way, and it's only plugged with the mono output. The thing about the dual delay is that it has these pan controls down here that only work when you have the Flashback plugged in stereo out When you're using the flashback in mono out, these pan controls don't do anything. But what you can do is plug a dummy cable into the stereo output of the flashback. So you just keep everything, all of your signal chain in mono, but you plug a dummy cable to the stereo out. That cable isn't plugged into anything else, but now the flashback thinks that you are using the stereo output and the pan controls are active again. So -50 sends all of the signal to the mono output, or left, which is the one you're using, and 50 sends all of the signal to the stereo output, or right output, which you're not using. Which means that now this behaves as a volume control. So when it's at 50, you've got nothing on your output, on the mono output. When it's at -50, it's got everything there. It's not a linear control, because being a pan knob, it probably responds to a 60B logarithmic law or something, but you can hear the difference. So I'm going to take out the fattener, and I'm going to bring up the delay to 440, and let me show you the pan at 50. Nothing. With the pan at -50, everything there, okay? And with the pan at 0, it's still quite prevalent. But from 0 to 50, you start losing quite a lot of this sound. So it becomes, in effect, a volume control. Which is why, for my fattener, if you look at this, I have my red line is at 0, so it's this one. My red line is at 0, which means that when I'm in what I consider to be the fattening range of the knob, i.e. up until 50-something milliseconds, I'm having my delay sound coming in at 0. The moment I go into the slapback, I start cutting down up until 25 on the pan. Because this is what happens if I give you the full beans on the slapback. It's very strong. It's almost stronger than the initial sound, because I'm also giving it a bit of drive there. So I want to cut it down a bit so that it's still there, but not as present. So I'm going to bring down the fattening now. And the same with the other one. So I'm going to show you this. And so if I'm using my Nuno Bettencourt thing, I want my red line to be full on -50, i.e. all of the sound there, because I need that repeat to be almost as loud as the initial sound. Okay? And as I start going up to the Edge and David Gilmour sounds, I need to start losing a bit of the intensity of the repeats. So and that's how you can achieve the difference in volume between the different sounds that you want, i.e. your 3 presets, without having to touch separate knobs and blah 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 every time that you want to change your delay time. So once again, with a level knob down, we've got the Nuno Bettencourt sound. Oops, sorry. With it at 12 o'clock, we have the Edge sound. And with the level knob at maximum, we've got the Dave Gilmour, Another Brick in the Wall sound. And with the possibility of using the feedback knob, getting some modulation. So that's it for today. I hope that this has been useful to you. If it was, please click the likey button. It really helps the channel when you do that. Leave me your comments in the place where comments get left. You know where it is, it's down there. And if you want to help support the channel just like everybody else on this list did, you can head up to my coffee page. You can buy me a coffee there. And I will see you one of these Tuesdays with yet another TonePrint Tuesday. Until then, just go and have fun.